Welcome back to Fred Achando Analysis, ladies and gentlemen. To those who take their time to support this channel in one way or the other, I just want to say thank you very much. May God bless you abundantly. I was reading a story from the Nation newspaper that really caught my attention. And I realized that ever since President William Samoei Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua took oath of office, they took a complete paradigm shift from their predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta. Because you won't believe it that within a span of just 5-6 months, William Ruto has reversed over 20 policies that were being pursued by his predecessor, by Uhuru Kenyatta. And I was just wondering, within this short span, over 20 policies, because when William Ruto took oath of office, he went straight and presided over the swearing in of the 6 appellate judges that Uhuru Kenyatta had rejected, questioning their characters. And then he promised to replenish the judiciary account by giving 3 billion every year. He has already dispatched part of that money. And then on the same breath, a judge that had been rejected by Uhuru Kenyatta, Mr. Agri Mucheluli, is the one who was appointed to head the committee or the commission that is inquiring the conduct of the Cherera 4. So just to show Uhuru Kenyatta that I am the boss, William Ruto has decided to reverse this. And then he headed straight to the Kenyatta University. Before Uhuru left, there was a land tussle where there's a 410-acre land that was supposed to be given to the World Health Organization to build a hospital there. But the vice chairman, Mr. Paul Wainaina, had refused because he had reasons to believe that it was not proper to give up this land. Then the tussle between the former president and Wainaina became so vehement, and Wainaina was sacked. So William Ruto went straight, reinstated Mr. Wainaina back to the staff, and then gave back the 400-acre land to the Kenyatta University. Then there were 26 liquor companies that had been closed by the previous regime, citing tax evasion. And one of them belonged to a very good friend of William Ruto, Mr. Humphrey Kariuki. William Ruto reinstated all the liquor companies. The same Kenya Revenue Authority that had presided over their closure is the same body that reversed them, and they are now operational. William Ruto said that these are hardworking Kenyans who are paying taxes, and that the closure of these businesses would really impact negatively to Kenyans and investors. Remember, Mr. Humphrey Kariuki is the owner of the Fairmont Hotel, where William Ruto recently had a meeting with his cabinet in Nanyuki. So William Ruto went again straight to the Kenya Meat Commission, and he reverted the Kenya Meat Commission back into the Ministry of Agriculture. Apparently, it had been donated to the military to man it. And of course, you all know that when Mr. Sakaja took oath of office, Mr. Mbadi, who was manning Nairobi, left it to Sakaja. And then the budget that the Kenya Police Service budget that was under the office of the president was taken away from the office of the president and given to the office of the Inspector General. And William Ruto was saying that this is going to go a long way to ease the operations of the police. And you remember the abandoning or stalling one of the most expensive projects of Uhuru Kenyatta, the Mau Summit Road, that was going to cost 160 billion shillings. The President had signed a deal with a consortium of French companies that are saying they were ready to for groundbreaking anytime, but William Ruto halted such operations. And there are several of them. There was the lifting of the GMO ban that had been placed 10 years ago by Uhuru Kenyatta, and then the abandoning all the subsidies on fuel, subsidies on energy, and the subsidy on our tokens, the electricity. So several of these things, the Kazim Tani that had been placed to cushion the youth after the corona pandemic was removed, and the president replaced it with the affordable housing project. So just to mention but a few, the president has abandoned or reinstated over 20 policies, those that were either left or adopted by the previous regime. What is really worrying is the motivation behind the president's actions. And experts are saying, does it mean Uhuru was that bad? Wasn't there even an iota of a project that William Ruto feels should have been perpetuated? Because apart from the SGR that I've seen them saying that they want to continue constructing up to Malaba, I haven't seen anything. All of these are being abandoned. And if there is anyone that the president had abandoned, they are reinstating, whether they are the people in offices or projects. What is really happening, ladies and gentlemen? Kindly subscribe to our channel if you're watching for the first time. Click the notification bell and like our videos. I went on a searching spree just to find out the motivation behind what the president and his deputy is doing. And number one, I realized that some of these policies are being motivated by the mere fact that the president had signed a deal with the international community. The IMF has piled pressure on William Ruto to ensure that they abandon or lift all the subsidies on unga, fuel, and electricity. And that is the reason why we are likely to see, in fact, the token has gone high, the cost of token, the cost of unga, and the cost of fuel. This is something that took place long time ago. It is because William Ruto signed a deal. I have said on this platform before that there are two groups of people who made William Ruto to become the president. Number one was the Hustler Nation. The Hustler was promised several things. One of them was that when William Ruto takes oath of office, immediately he places the Bible down, then the cost of living would come down. The second thing that he promised the hustlers was the Hustler Fund. Now the cost of living has not come down, but the Hustler Fund is there. It was hyped. They no longer talk about it. I don't know whether it is viable. I don't know whether it is something that is working. 500 shillings to start a business. I don't know. And then there was the international community that helped William Ruto to ascend to power. It is the international community that had presided over boomers. And this is the reason why Chebukati has the guts to say that I was being coerced, I was under pressure. You can imagine a president who is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, who has got the sword, and who is in control of the deep state, could not help his friend Raila Odinga to ascend to power. What does it tell you? There was another higher power, a mightier power, and that was the big boys, the USA, Britain, and all the other European countries. So they are piling pressure on Ruto to obey his part of the bargain. And that is why immediately he ascended to office, he lifted the ban on GMO, because America must be rewarded. And then there was the question of sympathizing and rewarding the tycoons who stood by Ruto's side. People like Humphrey Kariuki financed Ruto's campaign. And that is why when their companies were closed as a result of tax evasion, they have been reinstated and the companies are working. The only thing I don't understand is whether they have a plan to pay these taxes, because William Ruto just said that these are hardworking Kenyans who are paying taxes, and if their businesses are closed, it is going to impact negatively on investors and Kenyans who are trying to make a living. So if William Ruto is the same person who is emphasizing on paying taxes, and is the same person who is, on the other hand, rewarding those who have been accused of tax evasion, it is something that needs to be looked at, because then it is going to impact negatively on his policies. People like Wainaina, Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University, they were instated as a result of their frustration, and between when they were being frustrated, they found a shoulder to lean on in the name of William Ruto. And I think he must have promised them that when I get to office, I will reinstate you. And then there was that question of just showing Uhuru Kenyatta that I am the man, I am at the helm now, I am the boss. That is why Kenya Meat Commission has to come back to the Ministry of Agriculture. That is why people like Eric Wainaina, that is why the boss who was at the helm of KWS, there was another former military officer, and his appointment was very controversial. He has been removed. Uhuru Kenyatta, many experts say that had slept for some times and gave leeway. So when he woke up, he realized that there was a gap and cartels had taken over. And so for him to salvage what was remaining, he decided to take some of these departments and give them to the military to help him run. So William Ruto during his campaigns had criticized this move, and they were saying that this is militarization of our economy, of our government, something that he had promised that he will reverse, and he has reversed them. Then somebody is telling me that he wants to create his own cartels. I don't want to call it cartels, but I want to say that he wants to own some of these departments and remove all the allies of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Take, for example, the special service unit that was under the command of former DCI John Kinoti. He could not contain this because he wants to create his own body. Basically, he knew very well that the people who are operating inside the SS unit were appointed by the former president. So he wanted his own people. The only other problem I have about all this is that he accused them of killing Kenyans and, casted them in River Yala, accused them of some blood container where people were being butchered. I wish he would have just gone silently, disband the unit, and create his own. Look at the Mau Summit Road, one of the most expensive Uhuru's project, costing 160 billion Kenyan shillings. Why do you think William Ruto has stole it? One, it is because maybe he wants to renegotiate it. In the African setting, the people who negotiate for contracts sometimes, and I'm not saying always, sometimes get kickbacks. And so if this is the case, then it means that those who negotiated for it would get kickbacks. And so he wants to ensure that he is in charge so that he renegotiates. Maybe the prices were exorbitant if he thinks so, or he wants to deal with them now directly. He abandoned this or put it on hold, but then he's taking another 28 billion Kenya shillings worth of hospital in his backyard in Eldoret. So there are several reasons why William Ruto is being motivated to abandon some of these projects, and I think he wants to show the whole world that Uhuru did not know how to do things, and now he wants to do them his own way. And the last one is that he wants to send a coded message that maybe I used to advise you on this, but you didn't take heed. Maybe there were several things that he was telling the previous administration, but nothing was being done. So he's coming full swing to implement them. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think, but if you go through that list I just mentioned but a few, there are several of them that he has either abandoned or reverted back. Those that Uhuru Kenyatta abandoned, he has decided to bring back. And those that Uhuru Kenyatta had initiated, he has abandoned them. I don't know what you think on your side. Please share with me on the comment section.